Finally tonight, righting wrongs in our criminal justice system. This week, President Obama and Attorney General Holder announced new criteria for nonviolent federal drug offenders seeking clemency, who would have received lower sentences if their offenses were committed today. The New York Times correctly points out, quote, "The purpose is to deal with the aftermath of the war on drugs, whose casualties are the thousands of people sentenced under harsh and outdated laws." The announcement has sparked a national dialogue on prison reform, the drug war, and unjust sentencing laws. And it's not a partisan issue. Republican Senator Rand Paul has been outspoken on this issue, and this week voiced his support of the new plan.
This is one thing I'm happy to compliment the president on. In the last couple of days, and really over the last year, he started commuting some sentences and letting people out. There is a problem, and it's something that I've actually spoken with Eric Holder on. I'm willing to work with the administration on second chance for people, that kids should not have their future taken away by. I think it's a mistake to use drugs, but I think it's not something you should have to give up your future.
You should not have to give up your future. He's right. Yet some on the right have denied.
There's also Rand Paul, who's teamed up with Vermont Democrat Pat Leahy on a bill that would make mandatory sentencing guidelines optional for judges. This sea change on the right is driven partly by the huge financial burden that all the harsh laws enacted over the last generation has placed on the government. At the federal level, incarceration costs about $30,000 a year just for one prisoner. Fully 1/4 of the entire budget for the Justice Department now goes to funding the federal prison system. At the state level, the strain is even more pronounced. Major sentencing reform bill is expected to be taken up by the Senate soon. And if you want to know just how significantly the politics of this issue have been reshaped, then consider this. According to the LA Times this week, there's as much concern about Democrats sinking it as conservative Republicans.
That's happening. And none other than Rand Paul in New Hampshire, I believe a few weeks ago, had something rather interesting to say. Let's roll that.
The door's not going to open up to the African-American community or the Hispanic community until we have something to offer. If you look at the war on drugs, 3 out of 4 people in prison are black or brown. But your kids and grandkids aren't perfect either. Please don't come to your neighborhoods. You get a better lawyer.
I mean, that's pretty remarkable. Yeah. One, from Rand Paul, but two, from a Republican who is considered to be a leading contender for the 2016 Republican presidential nomination. Does his party want to hear this?
You know, I really think that Americans understand that this country has been addicted to mass incarceration for a very long time. And libertarians, I mean, the Rand Paul thing is a perfect example. I mean, this is where they come together. And you know what? I don't see a lot of backlash from his party on this. People listen to it, and a lot of people agree. People are very, very tired and would like very much, I think, to leave the 80s behind on the drug war.
And the fact that conservatives are speaking about this, not just here, but also like at CPAC, which is the gathering of the hardcore, faithful of the party, that they're speaking about this issue. I feel like that's a real sea change that we're seeing on the conservative side, that people are just recognizing that this entire policy has been so foolish, so wasteful, and as Rand Paul mentioned, it's caused a lot of destruction in our communities.
Also, crime is down. That's just a fact.
For years.
Yeah, crime is down. So it just makes sense. Let's follow the research. Let's follow what the research tells us works, and recognize that crime is down.
Stay with us, because sentencing reform is just the beginning. What happens to those former offenders when they come home? We'll get into that when we come back. But first, Rand Paul isn't the only one speaking truth to the Republican base. At a Rotary Club meeting in Ohio this week, House Speaker John Boehner mocked his Republican colleagues over another tough issue, immigration reform.